Gary's Good News Only, episode 38. I think I've been doing this for about 45 weeks. I hope we'll be doing less of it because I do believe that the numbers are starting to look good, and maybe in the next couple of weeks we'll get this herd immunity with the vaccine and we can get done with Gary's Good News Only. But in the interim, let me give you all the good news on the coronavirus. So from January 11th to February 8th, we've had only one state, Vermont, that did not go down at least 30% in that time frame. They've ranged from Vermont going down 19.8%, basically 20%. South Carolina went down 30% in the cases, and North Dakota went down 78.1%. Across the nation, corona cases are going down between 20 and almost 80%. That's awesome news. In the past week alone, the national 7-day new case average dropped 22.6% in just the last 7 days. So it's accelerating, not decreasing the number of cases that are going down. The number of cases are accelerating in terms of going down, not going up. So we're seeing this tremendous good news all over. January 11th, 7-day rolling average was 260,000 new cases a day in the United States. On February 8th, it was down to 111,000 cases. So that's a 7-day rolling average drop of about 55 to 60%. Actual cases on January 8th was 301,000 new cases in the United States. Yesterday, it was only 105. So that's also down almost 65, 70%. Media has no explanation for this. They don't know what's happened. They said this was going to last throughout the summer. Guess what? They were wrong. It looks like this is nothing more than a seasonal surge, just like the flu. Now, speaking of the flu, some weird things on the flu. Remember when the media kept telling us this was going to be a twin-demic, that we're going to have the flu raging at the same time the COVID virus and millions more people are going to be infected? Well, it actually didn't happen. And that's not a surprise at all that the media missed this. They've missed everything else as it relates to the COVID virus. In fact, what we know about the flu now is it's down 98% around the world, not just the United States, across the world. The flu is down 98%. So the question's why? And there's a great study by Kyle Lamb on Twitter you can find where he talks about whether it's natural, artificial, or bad data. I don't put anything past these people with bad data. We know there's tons of bad data out there with COVID deaths. I've heard as much as between 20 and 80% of the COVID deaths were not COVID deaths. We know that there's been traffic accidents, drug overdose, and suicides listed as COVID deaths. So what is it? Is it natural, artificial, or bad? Well, bad data. Some people say it's artificial because we're wearing masks and that's taking care of it, which is kind of weird because if the masks were working, then we wouldn't have more COVID cases. So that doesn't make sense. But when you look at Japan, Japan's always wore masks during flu season, but they've never experienced a 98% decrease in flu cases. So that doesn't make sense. Sweden also doesn't wear masks at all in their country, and their cases are also down 98%. You look at Florida, which doesn't have a mask mandate, and their cases are down 98 to 99%. So the mask really doesn't make sense. And then other people have said, oh, it must be because it's contagious, because COVID is more contagious than the flu, and that's why the mask doesn't work as well for COVID. Well, if that was true, the rhinovirus is less than both of those in terms of being contagious, but yet rhinovirus cases are up higher than they have been. So the mask doesn't make sense. None of that makes any sense at all. So what this study says is it's a natural phenomenon, that basically this virus is beating up the flu virus. So at least that's good news. We're not getting the flu, and the chances of you getting the flu are very, very limited. We've also seen that Iowa and Ohio now have lifted a lot of their restrictions. So that's also good news. Now, kids are finally getting back to school across the country. That's good news. Just to put this in perspective, if you're 0 to 18 years old, there's only been 229 COVID deaths during this entire year in that age group of 73.7 million kids. So basically almost no deaths at that age group. To put that in perspective, kids die of injuries, 12,000 in 2016, motor accidents, 4,000, firearms, 3,000, suffocations were 1,500, drownings were 1,000, fire or house fires, 340. So in fact, COVID cases don't even crack the top 12 list. So and kids 0 to 18 years old have a 4-time greater chance of dying of a drowning than they do COVID, or more chance of dying from a house fire than they do of COVID. So it is safe for our kids to go back to school. It always has been. I think they finally realize that now. So that's really good news as well. So as you can see, all the COVID numbers are going down. Things should be opening up a lot better now. This is great news. Lastly, my personal good news is Dish and Dirt, my podcast, which I'll link here for you. On Apple Podcasts, it ranks number 123 in the entire country on how to do and how to do categories. So that's kind of amazing. Thank you guys for listening to it. And that's just on Apple. If I would combine all my podcasts and everybody listen to it on just Apple, I'd probably be in the top 50 now. So I really appreciate you guys listening to it. I hope everybody has a great weekend. Take care.